And before we begin, I just want to let you know don't think of this as much as an interview, but more of like a friendly conversation.
Okay,
You
cool.
can just relax.
Thank
And
you.
as you know, we're looking for an event planner / coordinator.
Mhm.
And first I'll ask you questions about yourself, some of your qualifications, and then we can have time for any questions you might have for the job or myself.
Okay.
So, what can you tell me about the last job you had?
Well, I currently am an administrative assistant at Nike, and a huge part of my job is planning offsites and trips for the design team to get inspired and stuff like that. So, I mean, it's my responsibility to make sure that they have a fun trip and sort of get to do everything that they need to business-wise, but also kind of a personal side of it as well. And we plan like for them to have days to sort of like do yoga or like, you know, take care of themselves. So I think I'm very good at like getting people to do things that make them happy but like keep them active, if that makes sense. So that's why I think this position would be really fun for me, is to like get the kids out there and like doing fun activities and sort of just keep them well-rounded.
And do you think it would be like a big jump going from like Nike to, more sports, I guess, in a camp sense?
Well, I've been active my whole life, and I'm like really into doing different kinds of sports. So I think for me it would be really easy. And I'm also the oldest of 4 kids, so I'm really used to kind of playing around with kids and doing different activities, whether it's like planning an actual sport like soccer or just like climbing trees or doing fun stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I think it'd be a good transition.
And you also stated in your resume that you're a student from the University of Portland.
Mm-hmm.
And could you say anything of your experiences there?
I don't think that my time at the university has been very like planning activities and sports oriented like this job would require, but I definitely am receiving an outstanding education, and I've definitely learned to communicate with people well, and I think just the people that I meet at the university, whether it be professors or other students, have really kind of taught me a lot about communication, and just sort of it's helped me grow up a lot and be responsible.
Mm-hmm. And you said that you worked with a lot of people at Nike, and
Mm-hmm.
do you think being an independent worker or more of like a social, I guess, team player, which one would you say is more important?
I work in a team, but a lot of my work is independent. So I gather insights from my team. Like for example, if I'm planning an event, like I have to first of all tackle like food allergies or like, where they want to sit on an airplane or like little details like that. But then I sort of go ahead and like plan the rest on my own. So I think it's a little bit of both.
Mm-hmm. And so, as you know, we work with a lot of kids and parents at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
And so we'll ask you a scenario. You could just give me, what you think, how you'd handle the situation. And so the scenario is you schedule a field day where the campers primarily play soccer and football without consulting the camp counselors. The basketball and volleyball counselors were misinformed and planned the day to be spent inside the gym. And they said they didn't receive any information on the changed schedule. So how would you handle this internal conflict?
So let me just kind of repeat so I got the scenario right.
Yeah,
So,
take your time.
so the event was planned to be outside and then it moved inside, right?
Yeah, that's the counselors
Okay.
believed that it was supposed to be inside, but everything was planned to be outside.
Got it, okay. And the parents are upset about this?
No, the counselors are. Sorry.
I'm really confused by this scenario.
Okay. So I'll just reread it for you.
Okay.
So you schedule the field day. You as an event planner
Yeah.
schedule the field day for the campers to be playing outside.
Mhm.
The basketball and volleyball counselors were misinformed and believed that it was to be spent inside. And so how would you deal with that situation?
I mean, I would definitely like apologize first for the miscommunication, but I wouldn't foresee something like that happening because I feel like, if you plan an event, like you specifically have the times and the dates and the locations, everything planned out. So I would definitely feel like I didn't do my job if that disappointment came up, or miscommunication. But I would definitely just try to work with the counselors and see like if they have other suggestions for how to deal with the situation. or handle the change.
How would you ensure that this conflict, I guess, never happens again?
I would just make sure that like every detail about the field day would be written out, and every counselor had a copy of it and had the opportunity to come to me with questions or anything like that.
Okay, and another situation, more of like the parent side. A parent is upset that his child didn't excel at the sport he attended. He feels his son didn't get any better at football and that his money was wasted. How would you approach this conflict?
I would talk to the parent about how the kid did during field day probably, and ensure them that like they had a lot of fun and that they definitely had the opportunity to try everything that they wanted to try. I don't know if activities would be necessarily focused on improving someone's abilities. I think for me a lot of it is just about having fun, and I think that's probably because I went to a high school where we had a no-cut policy, so everyone got to try to play the sports, and I think that's really important. And so I would definitely just talk to the parents about that, and if they want to send their kid back and maybe do one-on-one with the counselors or something like that to improve their skills, then I would definitely offer them that suggestion.
And so you have obviously a lot of experience working with event planning there at Nike. And do you think there would be anything else to add concerning your qualifications that you might have not touched up upon?
I think I touched on everything. I think I'm great with kids. I think I'm a great event planner. Sports are a really important part of my life. It's specifically outdoor sports. So, yeah.
And do you have any questions regarding like the job or maybe more about the organization that we do?
I don't think so. Yeah, your website was very well made, and I did a lot of research on my own, so I think I'm pretty familiar.
Yeah, well, here at the organization, we love kids, we love the outdoors, and so we are conducting multiple interviews right now, but we'll be in touch with you, and thank you for coming.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me.
Okay.